Hey! Hi, how you doing? This is the Gamertron, and welcome back to the Gamertron Show. So, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask the question that's been on my mind for quite a while. After observing the gaming community for so many years, I have to ask the question, what is with the bizarre obsession over AAA gaming? Specifically, the publishers Activision and EA. Yes, we know they're shit. We know they're greedy. How many more times do we have to repeat this? They're obviously not listening to feedback, so how is calling them shit over and over and over again, like a broken record, going to improve anything on their end? I keep seeing, I keep hearing, I keep reading the same rhetoric over and over again that video games are dying, they're doomed, they suck, they're horrible, which is all objectively false, irrational bullshit, projection, blatant, overtly sweeping generalizations. That's supposedly all the fault of Activision and EA. Guys, you know other publishers exist, right? You know other developers exist that aren't associated with those publishers. You have Google, you have the internet, you can look this up for yourself. Why do you choose to be willingly ignorant and spread misinformation? Why? What's the point? What's to be gained? Temporary, fleeting self-validation? I thought video games were about enjoyment, entertainment, and nothing is getting in your way. Nothing is stopping you from enjoying and playing video games that have nothing to do with Activision and EA if they bother you so much. And hell, even if you want to play Activision and EA games but don't want to put up with their bullshit scummy practices, there are ways to circumvent and work around them, specifically on the PC platform. With key and code websites allowing you to get the game without Activision or EA seeing a penny from you, and mods allowing you to bypass microtransactions. You know, I really need to make a fucking video someday showcasing how there are a ridiculous amount of AAA games on PC where via mods you can almost completely bypass a majority of microtransaction systems. You have the tools, you have the resources, you have the information at your disposal to enjoy gaming and avoid the bullshit involved in the gaming industry. And yet I see the gaming community online continue to relish the bullshit. Despite claiming how much they don't trust these companies, how much they hate these companies, you sure love to talk about them and vent about them all the fucking time. You know, true hatred for something involves cutting that thing out of your life, forgetting that it even exists. That is the ultimate insult. That is the ultimate form of hatred towards something or someone. So excuse me for thinking that you guys actually love Activision and EA since you can't shut up about them. Oh my god, it just hit me. The video game community is Helga from Hey Arnold. All my jokes aside, I'm genuinely curious about the bizarre obsession with AAA gaming. I mean, did no one listen to Voss's speech in Far Cry 3? Definition of insanity much. The publishers Activision and EA have proven time and time and time again, they don't listen. They don't give a shit. They are in it solely for the money. Good for them. Doesn't hinder me, doesn't affect my life whatsoever. I still have an endless plethora of video games to play and enjoy that have come out over the past several decades. That's another question I have for the gaming community. Guys, you know, games that came out in the past, you can still go back and play those, right? They don't stop existing, they don't become unplayable when new games come out. Also, you know, AAA is not the only class, not the only type of video game. There are also middle market and indie games. Yes, the majority of them don't have the same polish or flash, the same visual allure of AAA video games, but a very fair chunk of them have great gameplay and even greater stories to tell. And yet they are constantly overlooked and overshadowed by the outrage machine over the AAA gaming industry, even though AAA gaming is not the entire industry. Now, some indie and middle market games are able to break out and get worldwide popularity, and I'm always happy when that happens, with the only exception being PUBG, because PUBG is garbage. However, despite the fantastic breakout successes of indie and middle market games, you see gamers mimic the AAA gaming industry and keep making the same mistakes over and over again, just like Activision and EA The gaming community never learns. All publicity, whether it be good or bad, is good publicity. Gamers keep giving Activision and EA attention, and so they continue to flourish. Examples include Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Despite the backlash, despite the negative press, despite the downvotes and boycotts, it was still the #1 best-selling game of 2016. And looking at 2017 in best sales, despite atrocious microtransactions and negative backlash, Call of Duty World War II was the best-selling game of the year, followed by NBA 2K18, Madden NFL 18, and Star Wars Battlefront 2. I want you to keep that in mind. EA's Star Wars Battlefront 2, one of, if not the most controversial and negatively received video game in the history of the medium, was still in the top 10 best-selling games of 2017. Now, I know I've brought up these lists, these stats, this information in multiple videos, but I'm not going to let this go, because the gaming community wants to keep putting all the blame on the publishers, even though the gaming community are the ones giving publicity to Activision and EA. Even though the gaming community keeps giving Activision and EA their money, keeps buying their games. And that includes its most vocal advocates. Example, Jim Sterling rants and raves time and time again about how all these AAA video game publishers are greedy and horrible, and yet he refuses to boycott them and keeps buying their games. Okay, so where are the principles? Where's the line being drawn in the sand? Is it all just moral grandstanding? Is it all just virtue signaling? Is it all just self-validation and circle jerking? What's the end goal here? To complain about Activision and EA till the end of time? Hoping and praying that shouting at the top of your lungs and writing paragraph upon paragraphs on forums and YouTube comments is somehow going to destroy these multi-billion-dollar corporations? Children, please. Creating actual meaningful change requires active participation, actual actions, not just words. I see you talking the talk, but will you walk the walk? However, moving on to that, and to reiterate, no one is forcing you to play or buy AAA video games from Activision or EA or any publisher you don't like. And there are so many fantastic video games coming from the middle market and indie space. I even made a video shouting out all these different middle market and indie games that big gaming YouTubers refuse to talk about. They'll promote and rant about AAA gaming all the time, but when there are fantastic middle market and indie games on sale being made by gamers for gamers, well, y'all are oddly silent. Not nearly as much promotion as you give to the AAAs, as you give to Activision and EA. What's the end game here? Do you want to improve the gaming industry or just bitch about it online? Are you consumer advocates or shrews? Is what I'm asking for so unreasonable? Some consistency, some honesty. And you know, in the end, if we all take a step back and get a better perspective on this whole ordeal, this is some first world problem bullshit, man. I've said this before in so many of my videos in the past, but looks like it needs to be repeated. No one is forcing you to buy AAA video games on day one, on release day, at full price. No one is forcing you to throw your money away on games that you won't enjoy. You have the internet at your disposal. You can do research to see if a video game is your cup of tea, whether it appeals to you or not. You have all the resources and tools and information at your disposal to be a smart consumer, to wisely spend your money on price-appropriate products that appease your preferences. I mean, I'm not crazy, right? I mean, is there anything illogical or irrational about what I'm presenting here? From time to time, I get accusations that I'm a shill, that I'm a fool for enjoying gaming, for enjoying the video game industry in its current state. So I'm a shill and a fool? Because I do research into the products I'm purchasing so that I'm not disappointed with how I'm spending my money? I'm sorry, what? Well, color me crazy then. I don't get it. To play devil's advocate, maybe my biases are too strong. Maybe my perspective is so limited that I can't visualize or empathize with the other side. But then again, how can I provide you with that empathy, that compromise, that understanding, if you won't do the same for me? I don't know, everybody. I honestly don't. But I can say, at the very least from my perspective, the gaming community's obsession with the AAA gaming industry, with the publishers Activision and EA, looks like a lot of virtue signaling, moral grandstanding, circle jerking, self-validation, and hot air. An overt focus on the mega corporations instead of the video games. Because video games right now are beautiful. They're incredible. They're bringing childhood fantasies to life, providing us with gripping stories that we can't stop thinking about, and lovable characters that we will always remember in our hearts. I am very curious, however, to hear what you all think. Let me know your thoughts, feelings, and opinions in the comment section down below. Anyways, that's been a video. I hope you liked the video. If you indeed liked the video in any shape or form, please be sure to hit the like button and like button up too. Helps me, helps everybody involved with the video. You hit the like button. If you want to help out and support this video, then please share it on social media, Twitter and Facebook. If you want to help out and support me directly, well, there's always Patreon. Anyways, guys, that's been a video, and I'll see you all later.